When Melody Sherry left Love and Marriage, Huntsville, the show began to unravel in ways no one could have expected. Her departure was framed as a personal choice, something she needed to do for her peace and growth. But what if it wasn't just about her taking a step back? What if, instead, she was pushed out by forces behind the scenes? That's exactly what Melody has hinted at recently, and she's not holding back anymore. Now, she's finally spilling the tea on the real reason she walked away, and who's really responsible for the downfall of one of reality TV's juiciest shows. For years, Melody was the heart and soul of Love and Marriage, Huntsville. From the very beginning, she brought the energy, the drama, and most importantly, the raw emotion that kept viewers coming back for more. Whether she was battling it out with her ex-husband Martel, navigating complicated co-parenting issues, or dealing with the ups and downs of her business ventures, Melody's storyline was the one that held everything together. Fans were invested in her journey, and her presence on the show felt irreplaceable. So when Melody decided to walk away after 9 seasons, fans were left reeling. Her exit was different from the usual reality TV departures. It wasn't just a matter of her being tired of the drama or wanting a change. This wasn't a simple break from the cameras. Melody's departure came after years of tension behind the scenes, and there's a lot more to it than what's been said publicly. Sure, she talked about healing and focusing on herself. She mentioned how hard it had been to deal with the constant pressure, especially with her marriage falling apart on national television. But the timing of her departure left people questioning, was there more to it than just burnout? After all, this wasn't just any reality show. Love and Marriage, Huntsville was Melody's baby. She had been with the show since the beginning, and her story was the show. She carried it. So, when she made the decision to step away, it wasn't just a personal choice, it was a statement. Fans noticed the difference immediately. The show felt different without her. The energy was off. The chemistry between the cast members shifted. And the ratings? They took a nosedive. It was clear that Melody had been holding things together more than anyone realized, but what if she didn't just leave on her own terms? What if she was pushed out by forces beyond her control? Behind the scenes, there were whispers of producer pressure, of storylines being forced, of manipulations that Melody didn't want to be a part of anymore. For someone who had always valued control over her image, this kind of environment wasn't sustainable. She wasn't willing to sacrifice her peace or her brand just to keep playing along with a system that didn't respect her. And it wasn't just the producers. Cast members, some of the same people she had spent years working alongside, were also allegedly involved in this slow push-out. As the years went by, relationships with people like Martel, the Scotts, and even newer cast members had become increasingly messy. Backstabbing, secret alliances, and fake reconciliations for the cameras, it was all happening behind the scenes. As Melody became more vocal about the direction of the show, she found herself increasingly isolated. Some of the people she thought she could trust seemed to have their own agendas. It was like she was targeted, pushed to the edges, and made to feel like an outsider. It's easy to think that reality TV is all about the drama you see on screen, but what's happening behind the scenes is just as important. In fact, it's often what happens off-camera that determines how long a show will last. And for Love and Marriage, Huntsville, the behind-the-scenes tension was growing too big to ignore. As Melody's influence began to wane, the cracks started showing. Once Melody left, the show struggled to find its rhythm again. The ratings were down. Fans were upset. Some even started online petitions demanding that Melody return to the show or that producers fix the lack of chemistry between the cast members. It wasn't just about missing Melody as a person. It was about the energy she brought to the show. Without her, it felt like something essential was missing. New cast members were brought in to try and fill the gap, but they just didn't have the same spark. The chemistry was off. The drama felt forced. The storytelling became more scattered, and the show lost the emotional weight it once had. What fans were witnessing was a clear power struggle. Behind closed doors, producers were making moves to keep the show going, but they didn't have a clear plan for what to do without Melody. In an attempt to reignite the drama and fill the void left by her absence, they started bringing in influencers and friends of the cast. But those new faces didn't have the depth or connection that the original cast had. The storyline felt patched together, a collection of random drama without the emotional build-up that once made the show so captivating. As the new faces came in, the old cast members began to feel pushed aside. There were arguments over screen time, over who was getting the spotlight, and over who was leaking information to the media. There was talk of people faking scenes for the cameras, trying to stay relevant in an increasingly competitive environment. The atmosphere behind the scenes became toxic, and it was clear that the show was starting to fall apart. Fans could see it too. They felt the shift in energy. The tension was palpable, and it didn't take long for people to start calling out the show for losing its essence. It's one thing for fans to notice the decline in quality, but it's another when the cast members themselves begin to speak out. Several original cast members reportedly felt like they were being pushed aside to make room for the newcomers, people with no real ties to the core of the show. This wasn't just about drama on screen, it was about the survival of the show itself. People were concerned about their own reputations, and it became clear that not everyone was on the same page about what the show should be. And then there was Melody's silence. For months, she stayed quiet, letting the show fall apart without commenting. But eventually, she broke her silence. When she did, she didn't name names, but her words were crystal clear. She revealed that stepping away from the show wasn't just a personal decision, it was a necessary one. The environment had become toxic. People were trying to control her narrative, forcing her into storylines that didn't align with her personal growth. She refused to sacrifice her peace for a paycheck, and she made it clear that if she were ever to return, it would be on her own terms. She wanted creative control. She wanted respect behind the scenes. And, most importantly, she wanted a full rebranding of the show's focus. She wasn't going to come back unless she could steer the ship herself. Melody's message was one of self-preservation, but it was also one of empowerment. She knew what was happening before anyone else, and she wasn't willing to stick around and let the show continue down a path that wasn't aligned with her values. It wasn't just about stepping away, it was about making a statement. Melody wasn't going to be a part of a show that treated her like a pawn, and she wasn't going to play along with a system that didn't respect her worth. And here's where it gets even more interesting: Melody may not need Love and Marriage, Huntsville anymore. There have been rumors that she's working on something new, something bigger than just a side project. Some believe she's building her own platform, while others think she might be developing a new show that puts her in full control of the narrative. No more producers manipulating storylines. No more fake drama. Just real, intentional storytelling from her perspective. And she might not be doing it alone. There's talk that she's reconnected with some familiar faces, people she can trust, to help bring this new vision to life. But here's the thing, since Melody left, the fan base has been divided. On one hand, there are the fans who want her back. They miss her energy, her storyline, and the role she played in holding everything together. They're calling for her return, demanding that producers fix what they broke when they let her go. On the other hand, there are fans who believe it's time for the show to move forward without Melody. They're tired of the recycled storylines and the same drama playing out over and over. They think Melody's departure could be a chance for a fresh start, a new direction for the show that doesn't rely on the same old conflicts. This division has created a lot of tension among fans. Some are fiercely loyal to Melody, while others feel like it's time for something new. The comment sections on social media are filled with heated debates, and it's clear that producers can't ignore this backlash. The fan base is shaping the direction of the show, and it's clear that no matter what decision the producers make, they're going to have to answer to the people who support it.so, who really killed Love and Marriage, Huntsville. Was it the producers, with their desperate attempts to hold on to ratings by making questionable decisions behind the scenes? Was it the cast, with their jealousies and backstabbing, creating an atmosphere that was impossible to work in? Or was it Melody herself, who saw the writing on the wall and walked away before the ship completely sank? The truth is, it's a mix of all of these things. But one thing is clear, Melody's absence has exposed cracks in the foundation of the show that were always there. The question now is whether the show can recover from the fallout, or if its days are numbered. Melody may have walked away, but her legacy is cemented. And whether Love and Marriage, Huntsville survives or not, she's already flipping the script on her own terms.